How do you go from a finished Word or Scrivener document to a professional looking book? Some authors don't even know that you can format your own book for print and ebook by yourself. The truth is, it's easier than ever with the tools that are in the market now. So today, I will be showing you behind the scenes of 5 book marketing softwares. 3 of them are free, 2 of them are one-time payments. None of them are monthly subscriptions. For the last several years, I have been using one of the paid ones, so today we'll see if it stacks up, if I'm going to stick with it. I'm also going to do a trial of the other paid one so that we can see together the pros and cons. But before we get started, a quick intro to me in case you are new here. I'm Carolyn Choate, and with my fiction pen name, I have made over $50,000 in royalties, mostly passively by utilizing websites effectively. On this channel, I show you how both fiction and nonfiction authors can get more from their books with less work. Now, you can't make money from your books if they aren't available for sale. So this series is all about how to get your book published. If you're going the self-publishing route like me, follow along with this playlist. And if you're not sure how to choose which publishing option is best for you, then I have a video here about which option you should choose, traditional, hybrid, or self-publishing. And let me say here that even though Atticus and Vellum are paid tools, I am not sponsored by them or affiliated with them. If you choose to purchase them, I do not get a benefit. For all the tools that I use, I always check if there's an affiliate link, which, in case you're not familiar, means a custom link that tells the owners of the tool where a purchase came from. So you can sign up to have a special link that will connect to your name, and then they can tell when the recommendation came through you, and you get a little commission for it, small percentage of the sale, just depending on how they set it up. And the price for you as the customer does not change. It's a nice win-win kind of thing. And most online tools and marketplaces have affiliate programs, so I always check because why not? Atticus, as far as I can tell, does not have one. I haven't looked at Vellum yet, so if that changes, then you'll see in the description I will always label when something is an affiliate link. So what I'm going to do today is take the same manuscript, a 100-page novella, and format it for both ebook and print in all 5 platforms so that we can really see the pros and cons of each. We're looking at Atticus, Reedsy, Kindle Create, Vellum, and Google Docs. And I actually have a bonus one at the end. We're going to find out which one makes a better book, which one is less frustrating, and ultimately which one is worth your time and, in some cases, your money. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which tool is right for you, and I will know exactly which tool I will be continuing to use or switching to. Bad formatting is a constant distraction. Weird paragraph indents or the wrong margins or odd fonts is going to really pull the reader out of the immersion, and it's going to look very unprofessional. It's going to look like you just threw it together and you didn't care about it. So this is a way to really get yourself off on the best foot with your readers, to make sure that your book just looks clean and nice, and it doesn't have to be super complex. It's quite simple to format. It doesn't have to be anything stunning. It just has to be smooth and easy to read. And side note, I happen to know a professional book formatter who works for, I think it's Harvard Press. I moved back to Massachusetts recently, and I have reconnected with a high school friend who just has so many friends in the area. She's a real extrovert and just connecting with people. So I had been playing board games with this guy. I had no idea who's a professional book formatter, so it was so cool. But what I learned is that professional book formers tend to use InDesign, which is not one we're going to look at today because that is a expensive program and a very hard to learn program, steep learning curve. I used it once when I was doing an internship at a magazine, but it's really like for very professional level of, real, shall I say, traditional publishers. As well as I mentioned, where you're going to need to conquer these 2 different formats, a print book and an ebook, and they are very different animals. So it'll be interesting to see which of these handles which better and whether they can all do both. Obviously, a print book is a fixed object, and you create a print-ready PDF where every element is locked into place. So you have to make decisions about the trim size, which I'll talk about in a second, margins, typography, headers and footers, all of that stuff to look nice together. Whereas an ebook is something that is known as reflowable. And that means there's no page numbers, and the text itself adjusts and reflows depending on what device it's being read on. So if you were reading it on a Kindle, it will look one way, and then if you switch to your Kindle app on your phone, it's going to look a different way. So it is able to adjust itself to whatever device you have, and also it has more ability to adjust, if you have low vision, that you could make the font bigger yourself, where a print book is obviously not something that you can just change in the moment. So you don't have the page numbers, the headers, or the footers in a reflowable book. You just want to create a clean, simple file, usually an EPUB. And I will show you how I discovered Kindle Create by accident just a couple weeks ago. Okay, so there's a bunch of different trim sizes, but the standard ones are, this is a 6x9, and this is a 5x8. I am doing most of my books in a 5x8. I don't know why I picked 6x9 for this one. Like, you can see the comparison there. There's no reason for it to be this big. Especially because I write like short books, so like it's more satisfying, I think, if it's smaller. And then the only other size I've used is this one, is the 8.5x11. So that's the size of a sheet of paper. For obviously it's a workbook planner, so it makes sense for it to be nice and big. The question we're here to answer is, can these formatting softwares do both? But first, this video is sponsored by me. The most important thing you could do for your author career is to set up a website. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it does need to be set up in a specific way to sell your books for you while you write and live your life. So you can grab my quick guide on laying out an author website that sells books, or browse my author website templates that I am building up more of for Squarespace, Go High Level, and Canva. Links for those are in the description. Let's get started. I will have timestamps for each of the software tools that I'm about to demonstrate. We're going to start with Kindle Create, then Atticus, Reedsy, Vellum, Google Docs, and my special extra bonus thing. So I'm going to share my screen and be right back. Okay, you're going to laugh at me, but a while ago, Amazon had their own ebook format, which was a .mobi file. And then they did away with that, and they went to EPUB as far as I remember or know. But it looks like they may have adjusted since then, because I have just been uploading EPUBs and not paying the least bit of attention about what it says right here. It says we recommend using a KPF file. And I was like, what the hell is that? So I looked into it and discovered that they have their own formatter now. The Kindle Create formatter to make this type of file, although I've never had any issues with just uploading an EPUB, to be honest. I have uploaded this before because I was trying to record this video earlier and I messed it up, so I'm redoing it. So ignore that. And there will be a video later going over all of the how to upload onto Kindle, how to upload onto other platforms. So we're not going to worry about that part today. I just wanted to show you where I discovered the Kindle Create here and surprised myself, and we might upload it just to test out and preview what it looks like. This is an interesting one. This changed recently. It used to say, like, do you want it? And you say yes or no, and then it just lets it go. But recently, if you say no, it will have an extra thing that pops up when you save and say, actually, are you sure about that? We want to really make sure you understand the consequences of not putting DRM. So DRM stands for Digital Rights Management, and it is the way that these devices have tried to prevent the sharing and pirating of ebooks. There's no ideal system for how to prevent people from stealing and sharing ebooks, and I might have to do a separate video about that, because I got into an online fight here on YouTube recently with somebody who just does not see any problem with reading books for free that are not offered for free. So I'm quite bothered by that as an author, and I was stunned by how entitled she felt to it. Like, well, you still have a copy that you can sell, so it doesn't matter if I take a copy. And I don't know. It was especially hurtful because if somebody can't access a copy, like my books are in the library, but if you can't get it from Libby, if you're in another country, I've had people message me and say, I can't access your books and I want to read them. I send them a free copy. But you aren't just entitled to that. You can ask, and I will be generous because I want people to read my work. But to just say I have the right to pirate it and share it and read it and give it away to people is just outrageous. Anyway, I said I was going to share that for a different video, but I'm just getting worked up again. So I never put digital rights management on my work before, and now that I've had this conversation with this person, I'm going to start doing it, unfortunately. First of all, I have this novella here, and I have it in Google Docs, which is what I've mostly been using for writing recently. Although I just downloaded a different software for Black Friday, so I might show that off at some point once I figure out how to use it. So I'm going to download it as a doc, so that I'm ready to then re-upload it to all of these formatting places. So it's under Kindle Direct Publishing. No, it's not. It's under regular Amazon. Kindle-Create. There used to be this thing called Create Space. That's how we used to do print-on-demand books, and then it all became Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP, ebooks and print books. But anyway, so this is a full-on download. So it's a free download. I have downloaded the Mac version already. So let's see. Yeah, here it is. One of the nice things about the Kindle Create is that it can create reflowable comics and kids books, and it can lay out something that looks more like a print book. As they say here, it's really good for a textbook or a cookbook. So I don't use those particular kinds of things, but if those are the sorts of books that you are writing, then it could be a good thing for you to use, because I don't think, at least Atticus, which is the one I've used before, wouldn't be particularly good for doing like a comic book or a kid's book that's image intensive. You can put images in there, but it's not quite as good with that. So I'm going to create a new instance of this same ebook. So choose create new, and I am choosing this top one instead of those other options. I wonder if it will make me rewrite it because of that. Okay, importing and converting. Import successful. Okay, the headings are, accept that as the chapters. Okay, so the chapters are over here. Cascade formatting changes for elements. Formatting changes to an element updates all instances in a book when this setting is turned on. Okay. Click on the plus to add front matter. And we're going to talk in the next video about front matter, back matter, and copyright. I know, super exciting, interesting stuff. We're going to get into the actual exciting parts of publishing a book eventually, but really, really trying to go step by step through here. So these are all set already. So if I put in a divider, that's what it looks like. How much can I change the formatting? Yeah, the reader can set their own font. So I guess we can override that, but we probably don't want to. Ah! What on earth have I done? Oh, whoops, that's because I put a page break in the middle of whatever. So I can write in here. So if I were to do this, okay, so then I can have that, even though it looks kind of funky. Can change the indents, can change the amount. Oh, the size of the back of the drop cap. Okay. Oh, we could do the whole first word, right? No, 3 seems to be the maximum. And spacing. Oh, that's indenting. Yeah. What? Oh, here's the spacing. This is what I was looking for. Because this looks funky. Yeah, I do not want that. How much choice do we have over these things? All right, there's 3 font options. Again, I guess people choose their own. I can make this less enormous. Okay, how do I take that out? Clear. What have I done? That did not clear that. Uh-oh. They must have undo, right? Undo, undo. Oh, Lord. Okay. print settings so we can have a little bit of control over book title, author name, page number, where those are appearing in the print setting. Theme, we have 3 options, and that is it. Ooh, that changed the look of the divider. Neat. Okay, so this is an issue that I discovered the other day. You cannot preview what it looks like in print, which is very bothersome to me. It says that it does print, it exports for print, but there's no way of seeing what it's going to look like until like after you upload it the full way into the print on demand and look at the preview, for which you need to have like the cover ready and all the stuff. So that was pretty upsetting. It does not work for me. So when we export, yeah, Kindle and print, and then you can also export as an EPUB for other places, because this is going to be probably an Amazon exclusive. I imagine this stands for Kindle print format or Kindle something. So it's weird that because the print is so different from the ebook, why would it download one file to be both? That is really concerning to me, and I don't see where we can choose the trim size. Let's see. Okay, we can insert an image. We can have a chapter start image. We can insert a table of contents. The table is being added further in the book. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's showing because that's where I'm highlighted. So we could add a table of contents here in the front matter. How is it being added further in the book? Right. Copyright page. So we could just put in name there. It's definitely going to be 2026. Okay, we'd have to update this to our ISBN numbers and if we have a cover design, Congress number. That's for the copyright, which we'll get into next video. Ooh, what will this look like? All right, let's see, what else can I put in here? Not that I'm going to actually be using this file, so okay, not the prettiest looking thing I've ever seen, but guess it works. Let's see what inserting an image looks like. Okay, here's the spot to put the alt text. That's awesome. This is for e-reader accessibility. So this is a description of the image that will be read out loud to people who can't see the image or have low vision. So we would put in a description of exactly what's there. I would do more than that, but you can also choose to exclude the image from the screen reader, and that would be sometimes for things they say are purely decorative. You don't have to put alt text in, but it never hurts to have alt text. It's just friendly, you know. What happened? Why did it disappear? What happened? Oh my goodness. Large or small or full? So we can put a header image there. The alt text goes there. You can choose if it's 25% or 33%. All right, when we that does not appear to give me any information about trim size, but maybe since it's like a reflowable file, that when you're able to maybe manually select the trim size and it will update itself when you upload it. Must be it, I guess. All right, let's see if I can experiment with that. I'm not actually gonna have a paperback version of this, but I do want to just show you all the things, so that's why I'm doing that. We talked earlier about why you should never take the free ISBN, but I'm gonna leave it that way for now, just so that I can, because like I said, this is not gonna actually end up being a so you can upload it in a number of different trim sizes. So I said this one is standard, this one is pretty standard, but let's do a weird one to see if it does it right. Whether we want the cover to be matte or glossy. Now The problem is they're saying that we need to assign the ISBN before we can even see what it looks like and preview it, which is very upsetting. I'm not burning one of my ISBNs on this, so they're going to give me a free ISBN even though I'm not going to use it. A waste of money for them, whatever. And then very rarely would I use the cover creator to make the book cover. The only time that you would do this is if you just have your front cover, which is actually honestly what I have. And we're gonna go into that too. I gotta tell you all about like how to make a wraparound print cover and how to know how thick the spine needs to be and all that stuff. So we see here that we don't have an option to do bleed. Usually you don't want bleed, but this can be cool for like edge design, and that was done by putting something that's along the bleed edge so that it shows up at on the edges of the book. So that would not be possible with this format. Can I launch the previewer without it? I'll wait for a while for this to process and see if I have to have a cover to launch the previewer, but I'm going through an awful lot of work just to see what it would look like in print. It's ridiculous. Yes, the only thing that we have figured out is that I'm reasonably certain that you can choose the trim size from here, and the fact that it's a reflowable format means that whatever trim size you choose, it's going to make the print fit that. So the only thing you really had to choose for print was how you want the header and footer, where to put the title and the author name. That was like the only thing I had to choose on there. I can't preview it without the gosh darn cover. Finally, we can see this print preview. What the heck? The title page has the header on it. Yuck. Okay, this is hideous, and I don't know, is it because of, and oh, it didn't even do it on the right side only. This is awful. Okay, so Amazon Kindle Create is out if you're doing any kind of a print book. This is ridiculous. Okay, next up I'm going to show you Atticus, the one that I have been using. It is $149 one-time fee, and I have done like 30 books in this. It does have a way to download it as a desktop app that you can install here, but I am always in my browser, so I constantly forget to use the desktop app. Obviously, you want to not have it open in both places or it'll get confused. You have options when you first start here. You see all of your books. You can see it will show all of them. Then you also have master pages that you can create within the book and set them as a master page. So I'll show you those. You can start fresh and like copy and paste into it. There's some idea of writing within here, and I'm going to show you why I have stopped doing that, even though it's very tempting to just cut out the middleman and type right into it. Upload a book just like the last one. Create a box set. I have not played with this. I believe what this means is that I would choose the books that I've already written and it would turn it into a box set. Yeah, okay. Right now what we're going to do is upload a new book. Yes, Priya. I think they're hanging next to the pantry.
Yes.
I'm gonna get myself confused because I already have a copy of it in here. I don't know what this is for project. Potentially a way to organize it more, but I have never used that. All right, so same thing now. It's going to import it into this software. I can click to upload the book cover here. I can add things if I want to. This is a way to say, like, if it doesn't start on, what the hell is that? If you want somebody, when they're opening their Kindle file, for it to start at chapter 1, you would do that. You can put in publisher details here if you have a publisher. You can put in your ISBN numbers here. I don't always do an ebook ISBN, but I always do a print book ISBN. And then you would come over to writing, and here is how it has imported, and it may not have done it quite right, and that is something that can happen. Basically, they make it look like it's reasonable to write within Atticus because they have like this writing timer with the breaks. It's like a built-in Pomodoro timer, and you can have these goals and writing habits and streaks, what days you want to write, what due date you have for it. So like, very cool. The problem is there's no spell check. And not only is there no spell check built in, but Grammarly cannot work with it. Even though it's in my browser, if I set up Grammarly, it says it can't can't work within that website. So there's absolutely no way to do it. It's a huge mess for me. I have, as I said, been tempted to write in it, and when I've done that, I've had to copy and paste each chapter out into a different like Google Doc, spell check it, and paste it back in, and that leads to errors such as me forgetting an entire chapter in my book until a reader let me know that it was missing. So very disappointed in that. But everything else I have liked. We have the title page automatically pulls from the book details page that you can always go back to here or here. The copyright page has some stand-ins here. This is the sort of just regular one, but they now have some other ones. This is kind of new, I think, that there's some templates that are based on other things, so I could have that one instead and take out the original simple copyright page. And then that would have, you know, I'll put in my info there, and I am the book cover artist, I am all the things, but you got that, and you can add in other layouts for the beginning and the end, and you can also have your master pages. So I have a master page for other books by, and I would put that up in here. I would do copyright, then contents, then other books by. So this, when I update it and I apply a change, I can apply it to only this book or to all books that use this master page, which is cool. Profile up here, you can create a profile and put all these different things, and then when you put it in here, it would like have the links to it in the ebook version. You can always look and see and get a formatting look. You go over here and you can look at it in all these different devices as well as print. So I can see what it would look like in print. That looks dreadful, but also this is not the right formatting theme. So there's a lot of themes already built in here, and you can do a lot to customize them. So I have themes that I have for my different types of books. Like Cedar Harbor tends to all be the same with this cedar tree header, and then a custom scene break that looks like a hockey puck because it's about a sled hockey team. So this is one that I had set up for road trip specifically the first time I tried to record this video. And so I can go in there and rename it, I can edit it, I can change lots and lots and lots of things about it. And I can look at what this looks like in different chapters down here and by the page over here. And so maybe I want it to say chapter 1 and not have the chapter number, okay? Or maybe I want the opposite of that, and I want to have the chapter number and not the chapter title. And I picked a chapter image. You can also use individual chapter images within it. I selected this from their templates, and you can decide where it shows up on there. It does not have to have alt text for that. You can decide the width percentage. Then you can decide if you want to have the drop caps or the lead in small caps or both together. You can decide if it's the beginning of a chapter or every paragraph after a break. You can have neither. You can decide if it's indented or spaced. Spaced is usually for nonfiction and indented for fiction. You can choose these different subheadings and have a different font and size for each of these different things. The default scene break is that, but you can also upload your own image or do it without an image or create an image with BookBrush. BookBrush is like a Canva that's only for authors, so it's a little bit less overwhelming maybe, but I love Canva and use it every day, so I would just create an image with Canva. And like these are some of the ones it came with, and then so that's one that I uploaded, so I can make it look like a little music note. And let's whoops, I have to actually save the theme. I can save it as a new theme, I can save it as this theme. So if I put in a section break here, that's a page break, scene break, it will look like the 3 dots, but then when I come over here I can see and like, oh, that's pretty big, let me shrink that down. And then I can see it adjust in real time. And again, I can switch back to see what will it look like on, I like to look at the iPad version. And when you do the print version, then it will calculate out how many pages you have. If you have footnotes, you can have notes about that here. The PDF is going to be what's for print. The EPUB is for the ebook version. You're going to download each of them separately. Print layout, here is where you can decide. I usually leave the margins as they are, the indents as they are. You can decide on the layout priority. Typography, so we can decide on the font. There's several fonts that you could do. 10 is pretty small. I like to go up to 11 for the print book, but that is your own personal preference in a lot of ways. If you're doing a large print book, it's going to automatically go way up to the 18 point. Again, an accessibility option. So I would do 11 or 12. Header and footer, again, we could decide how we want it. It could be title and chapter, it could be author and title. The font can be different, the size can be different. Wow, suddenly I'm at 129 pages because of how I did the weird typography. Did that make, from 10 to 11, did that make that much difference? Maybe it did. And here's the trim sizes. So you can do all these different trim sizes, and it has a little key here to show the different print-on-demand services that are most popular, which ones they support. So there's none on this, for example, but that's an international size, so you might have a different option if you're international from the US, which I'm in the US. But you can see all these little orange dots are the ones that you could upload Kindle, the dark blue is what you could upload on Lulu, and the light blue is what Ingram Spark can take. So like Ingram Spark could do your mass market paperback if you're using that, and it will export in that size, and you'll be able to preview what it looks like for that size. So tons of different formatting options that you can have in there. You can create a new theme, you can riff off of one of the themes that they already have. Lots of different options. Again, back to the writing. You can export the docx if you need it. It's not going to come out nicely formatted at all, but sometimes you just need to download it for whatever reason. So let's go across the top here. We got all the usual formatting options, headings, alignment. We already looked at scene break. Then there's page break. You can add a link, and the link can be a web link, an internal link. So it could be like jump to this part of the book. You know, you have some text that says go here, and you would say which chapter or which whatever. That would be, if it didn't automatically do a table of contents, that would be a way to do a table of contents. You can create a universal book link, which is really cool. So I have done that for my other books buy. So you put in the Amazon or the Apple Books URL, and then it makes it so that if somebody, you know, like I said, I'm in the US, so I put in my US Amazon link, but if somebody in the UK has the book and clicks it, it will take them to the UK version Amazon store, etc. You can insert images. So let's again put a random image in here. Here's where the caption will be. This will show up in the page, and here's where the alt text will be, which does not show up except in the EPUB, where it's, you know, hidden from looking at, but the screen reader sees it. So you can align it to the side, the middle, the other side. You can wrap text around it, which is a little bit hard to balance and get right. You can do it at a whole separate page. The image size can be whatever width. I like to start at 100%, see what that looks like, and go from there. You can have it go to a link of some kind. So it's always going to look kind of small from here. You do have to go over to formatting to see what it will look like. And there it is at the 100% on print and on iPad. I can always get back to that area, and I can delete it. So I have a map in my Cedar Harbor books that shows up as a full page image up here in the print book, and I can decide that it's only included in the print book, and then the ebook has a different image. Oh, and I always recommend do this begin on right side, because that is the standard way for the print books. So don't let it be either side, always right side. Can add in a new chapter, you can put a subtitle, you can put an individual chapter image here, you can hide various parts of it. So we did image, we could do a call out box. So then we can format that in different ways, and we can save it as a preset if we're doing a lot of these. But you can decide on the thickness and the color, although usually you're going to be doing your print book in black and white, but the ebook could show up in color. So if I had an email, I might put that there. You can also do text messages back and forth. So that turned that sentence into a text message, and then we could have, we do the next one. I think I have to do it as, we could do it iOS to iOS, iOS to Android, or just Android. So let me undo that and then get a few different, okay, so let's say all of that are text messages. And then I can say that this one is from the other person on that side. And then in formatting, it looks like text messages. So silly. But a really fun little touch. Take all that out of being a text message. Here's where we can put a footnote. We can have a link in the footnote. Here's the thing I showed you earlier with the profile. Then you can do something as a block quote. You can put in who said it. And it looks like that on the iPad. And it looks like that on the print. You can make it not a block quote. You can make it a verse. And I can do a hanging indent. Exactly how to use that or what that is like, but maybe that's within the formatting. I could change it. You could split the chapter if you're like, boy, this chapter is way too long, and just hit it and it will split it up. And then along here, you can edit it in different settings. So when you change this, it's not going to change how it exports, but while you're working on it, you might want to have a larger font size and like be able to see it better, right? So those are the editor settings. You've got to find and replace. You can do either chapter or book. I definitely recommend always having the match the whole word. I have had issues with that before. So let's see if we put in that word, so then we can see all the instances of it, and we can either scroll to them and change them manually, or replace with and do the replace all. You'll be able to see if there's any left in there, and then those will stay up until you close it out from here. You can do collaboration, which I have not experimented with this either, but this is cool for if you have beta readers especially, and here's where you can send an invite, and co-writer, editor, or beta reader, you can invite somebody to come on their Atticus, I would assume, and make comments and edits that you can then look at. So it's cool. We already looked at the goals thing. Smart quotes is where, like right now, these are smart quotes. Let's see. A lot of times the quote will be like straight up and down when you type it in, and then you could apply and make them the smart quotes, as it can be able to figure out, because that was weird. Yeah, so then it becomes like the curly on each side, and you can look and see if there's any inconsistencies with each of the chapters. And then, so I like to do that at the end and just go through each chapter and make sure that it has the smart quotes. Oh, I can just pull up a previewer there. I don't have to be going back and forth to formatting. Jeez, I didn't even know that. I don't know if that's new or I just never noticed. But it looks like I can write in here and immediately see what it's going to look like. Oh, I like that. Okay. So once you're satisfied with it, then you come over here, scroll down a little bit. You've got export EPUB and export PDF. And then you do have to click this thing again. And when you close it, it'll give you a warning that's like, well, yeah, don't worry about it. And then I have both of those here. And we can see what the print formatting will look like. I left this, oh well. And then these are links in the ebook version. And yeah, so you can see it kind of goes back and forth because it's it has the margins in there. And this is specifically that print size. You have to make sure that the print size you exported goes along with the print size that you select when you're uploading. And I think that about covers it for Atticus. I have been very satisfied with it. It doesn't give me full and complete total control, but it gives a lot of control. It does seem to be more than the other ones that I've looked at in general. So pretty happy with that. Next up is Reedsy, which is a neat company. They have a marketplace of different editors and cover designers and things like that, and a nice blog and some good resources. And they somewhat recently, I believe, came out with a free formatter. So I do have a free Reedsy account. Should I sign in or should I try to do it without and see what happens? So there's all these different things, and you would think it would be under tools, but it was not. It's under apps. So this is the EPUB and PDF typesetting tool. All right, so I do need to have my account on. So they do have some premium add-ons, and we'll see those as we go through, and a free trial. And honestly, the add-ons are not bad. They're pretty low cost per month, but it is completely free to format. So again, we can create a book or we can import a book. We're going to import from, you can do docx or ODT, that's the Open Office file. We will import the same one again. Now we can either do write or we can do manage. Manage will be, we can upload our book cover, subtitle. These are part of the premium plan, and that is about it. So now up here we can look at our export options, EPUB versus PDF. There are some options here. Book cover in settings, formatting options. Alright, so this is for any footnotes. This is whether you want drop caps, whether you want to hide the numbers. Here are the trim sizes. Not a whole lot of options for trim sizes, but you do have the 5x8, the 6x9. You don't have the big size. It says a range of themes, but as far as I can tell, there's only these three. So a lot of guardrails on the Reedsy thing. You don't have a lot that you can customize, but it's going to keep you from getting something like ridiculous, you know, keep you on track for the most part. I don't love any of these, but and I'm going to say hide chapter numbers because the chapters are named after their numbers. Okay, so I guess that's when I'm ready to export that I would set those things. Access, this again has an invite collaborators, so you can put an email address and see there, and then we can continue writing, which opens in a new tab. Okay, so here we are. We've got the front matter and the body that it imported. It says the number of words. It's really only 18,000 words. Oh man, I have a lot to do on this book still. And the back matter, so we could click edit here and add things like also by and about the author, and then when we're done with that we can go to those pages and we can update it. So here we have, like, it looks very pretty. I like these pages. Different URLs. I don't have a Facebook. Can I remove that? I see where I can add one, but can I remove one? Will it just not show up if I don't put a link there? Probably. Newsletter sign up form, that's a good thing to have. Bio, author image, and then these will look really nice because with this you can have the image, you can have a little description about it, so this will look far nicer than the one that Amazon gave us. And yeah, so you can put those. Or you can, like, if you, can we? Yeah, so if we had actually written something that was back matter, we can move it to there, put it back in there. Edit front matter, we have these options. What does a copyright page look like? So here's where I would put in the name I want actually on this book. First edition, not like it's gonna have another edition most likely. And here you can put in all these different ISBNs if you want to. Publisher logo, you can put in author, illustrator, cover art, blah, blah, blah. This is kind of neat. You've got the regular clause, and then you can add on, like, here's one for fiction. I have no idea what that is referring to, but sure.
external content, and then you could also enter like additional things and write whatever clause you want to be on there. I could have a forward, a preface, dedication. Let's see what a dedication page would look like. Yeah, nice. I also, before I get into all the things on the right hand side, check this out. They now have a planning area where you can outline, and you can like move around these cards, which are, and it has like templates, blank or browse the templates. You've got world building elements, narrative devices, just all kinds of stuff here. So this is kind of Scrivener like, and you can create different boards. And I'm wondering if this connects to the manuscript itself. That's one of the things I like about Scrivener, is when you do like a post-it note, whatever you write in there, like you click on it to go directly to that chapter, because I like to jump around a lot. I think, are these, yeah, this is all premium stuff, so I don't believe we can do the outlining with the free one. And I don't think we can we switch the theme? Yeah, that's also, it doesn't say that we can't outline, just that we can't do much on the outline, so perhaps. So that's kind of neat. Okay, so here we are over here, and we can do our goals. So again, this is kind of encouraging us to write within it. And it has even more stats and really pretty looking kind of goals and stats. We can rate our session if we have the premium add-on. You can see our word count per day. We can put our goal and see how close we're getting to it. We can see what words do we use too much. Again, that is a premium add-on, but can be very useful for editing. How many words are in this chapter, how long it will take to read. I love the idea of challenges, but I only have see this one in here. So kind of a NaNoWriMo stand-in. You can, again, with premium, have a pinned note. So I guess as you're writing, you could have a note that will just stay and say, you know, this character's middle name is this. Don't forget it. You can do track changes and suggestions with your collaborators, I believe. You can see a history of what we did with it. Okay. We've got the find and replace. We can search only this chapter or all of them. So here we see it by here instead of over on here, but then we can like jump right to it, and we can replace. This one does have a built-in spell check, so this is not a bad tool for. Oh, we have to exit this first. Not a bad tool for writing in, because it does have a spell check built in, which I appreciate. We can insert an image, an endnote, a scene break. Can we edit the scene break? I don't think so. I think it all depends on one of those 3 themes that we picked, and we don't have a huge choice in that. Again, let's put in this image. And that's it. You can put the caption here. I can delete it, or I can make a comment about it, but I can't put an alt text on it. Uh-oh. Oh, that is not good. I don't know how I would do an alt text other than putting it in the caption. But that's a big problem, so file that under negatives for this one. We can split the chapter, confirm split, no, never mind. I can delete a chapter, I can export the book. I can obviously move those around. All right, so I can write directly in here, okay. I can change things by clicking in there to look like things like that. You can put in a link. It can be a store link. Okay, very cool, very cool. Now, here's the other issue. I don't think there's a way to preview what this looks like. which is also something that I find very helpful in Atticus. So this is the same as in Atticus, where now you can be editing it in a different style than what you would actually export it as. We can create a link for people to read it, but I believe the only way to see it is to do the export. So that's another pretty significant negative. And yeah, so you can't see it until you press export book, and it's going to process and send you an email. So I don't love that. So there it is. That is that, but it is free, except for you'll be tempted by those little premium add-ons, but those are pretty affordable if you do want them. Next up, we're going to do the most expensive formatter, the Vellum. This is also only for Mac. It does not work on PC, and it is not in the browser. It's what the hybrid publishers that I know use, so I think it's a pretty fancy version. What's nice with the trial is that you can keep playing with it until you're ready to actually publish, and so we probably can't export it to see what it looks like without paying for it, but at least we can get an idea of what it's like. Okay, new book or import Word file. Let's start with new book. Okay, we can type directly in there. Again, it's going to show us as we go what it looks like on whatever device we choose. Okay, title page, publisher logo and link. What's this over here? All right, here's some different styles. Several of those, and then we can also adjust. Okay. Text size, heading size, what the numbers look like. Background and border. Full bleed. Ooh. Page background behind every page of content. So this would be the one that you'd want to use if you were going to do, like they do those editions that are like all black with white type and something like really different looking. And borders on every page. This might be a way to do like the edges thing. If you had the full bleed on here, I do believe the woman that I bought my edges from, for my edges, not my hair edges, but my book edges from, formats it through Vellum. So I think she has a like relationship with them. So it seems like that's something. But yeah, if you wanted to do that, like these kind of fancy formatting things would work on Vellum, it looks like. Oh, okay, tons of different ones. Ooh, and we can do one specifically in the dyslexic font. Oh, this looks like a very simple font maybe. And we are in the 5x8 right now. All right, let's try the import. Don't need to save this, so let's say, oh, and this is the box set thing too. Import Word file. And do the same file again. Whoa, that was fast. Okay. And we are previewing it on Kindle Fire or print, and I do not like the formatting thing that I ended up choosing here. Oh, how cute is that? That's neat. How much change could I make to this? I can't change the actual fonts in it, but first paragraph, it's got that lead in middle thing or nothing, or a few different options with that. Indentation, body font, we have a handful of options. This is the one that is the default usually on Reedsy, I think. Emoji font. Whoa. Clarify breaks at top and bottom page. So seam breaks or not seam breaks, but all features. Oh, okay. So we can look at just the features that this book happens to have, or we can look at all the options here. So we can create a custom ornamental image and upload our own. I really have fun putting the scene break images to match the theme of the books. Little line, kind of a little snowflake thing. Block quotation looks like, what verses look like. Ooh, written note options. Different options for captions. And I see it's got the check mark next to the things that are in this book, and the not check mark are the ones that are not. That is pretty cool. Okay. Word count here, words in chapter, words in body matter, words in book. Now, do I need to do something to save that theme, or is it just going to save it like that as I go? Seems like it. And my book is untitled right now, are you telling me? I can put in the series. More contributors, ISBN. Why is it just ebook ISBN here? This is all just ebook stuff. So I'll have to look at what? Oh. Ooh, accessibility description can be custom or book title. Ooh, I like that. Cool. Okay. Title page. Contents builds it automatically. So here. Okay, I've got some options here. If we wanted to do this as a text conversation, can I undo that? Yes, I can. All right, let's try like we did before. That becomes the other person. Settings. Or keep lines on the same page. Or okay. How do I see? Oh, I have to click like that to see the next page. Okay, so it does a gray and blue. Those are our options, I think. Okay, or can we just clear that and say not text conversation anymore? Or yeah, okay, cool. Add subtitle, add chapter author. Add heading image, hide heading in book, convert to something else. Oh, can we add a also by? Add element, also by. And then we would put in all of those. Oh, we can select which ones we want to show. Okay. Does it really only have 5 by 8? As a trim size, it might only do 5 by 8. That would be a pretty big limitation. So I'm just adding chapters randomly. Type, type, type. I can put in an emoji. I can make it bold, italics, underline. I can make a chapter title. Terrible. Okay, so do find and replace right within here. All word match case. Find, replace, find special, text featured list. Reuse elements from one of the other books, I guess. Add multiple elements. Ooh. Yeah, this is really nice for nonfiction. And like I said, the hybrid publisher that I know that does like multi-author books and nonfiction uses this, so that makes sense. If we wanted to call it something else, we could modify what the terminology is. Interesting. We can decide if we want to reset when it goes to a different part. That is good too. All right, very neat. And then I guess you just type what you want to in there. Okay, not bad. Certainly lots of options like with Atticus, but before we can export it, we would have to purchase it. And this is $250. Oh, I can take away that preview pane, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't think, personally for me, I do not think that it's worth paying that much more for it than Atticus, and I'm just very used to using Atticus too, so that helps. Oh, maybe not. All right, there's a spell check, very much the way like a Word document would have it. All right, cool, cool. I do like that. I can do the splitting chapter. Export content as a Word file, so we can take it back out as a Word file. So like Word, there's a lot up here in these menus that you can look into. So plenty of flexibility and things that you can do here. But again, more expensive than what I think it needs to be. And it's only for Mac. All right, so we are on to our final actual one, which is just directly in Google Docs. You can download this as an EPUB, and you could download it as a PDF. So the downside is that you would have to really know all of the formatting options that you want and manually put it all in, but it is certainly free and would give you probably the maximum amount of control over what it looks like, I would think, probably. Although I will say, I think this gives you a lot of control for the ebook. I'm going to show you how I use Canva to get a huge amount of control over a print book and have it look exactly how I want, with images how I want, and the sizing how I want, and all that. So I'll show you that in a moment. Let's just see if we can do the alt text if we wanted to put this an image in here. We can. Okay, that is pretty cool. So let's see what it looks like if I just take it exactly like this. I have this as a heading, and I tried to do like a page break at the end of the chapters, although I don't know how well I managed to do that. And then if I wanted to do it as a print, it would get more complicated because I would need to manually tell it, you know, we'd put it in a header and a footer to show the author and title and whatever we want, and the page numbers. And here's where you could set a trim size in the page setup. It is a little bit limited, but I think that probably this would work for the 6x9. You'd have to preview it and see how it looked, but these seem to be the options for exporting a trim size. Would go in there, and you would have to set it up so it's a different font, and that it's different on each page, whether or not we show it on here. Right in the middle. It should have a way to do left side versus right side. I haven't tried to do this. I've done it in Word, but that was years ago. Okay, so I believe that there's a way to do a different header and footer and different margins on each side, but this is going to take a lot of research and stuff, and given that there are free tools and one-time payment tools, it's probably not worth it to try to figure that all out. But let's see what it looks like as the ebook format. Let's see, the final thing is to see how this turned out. That's really not bad, considering that I didn't do really anything to reformat it. So this is a very decent option for the ebook to do just a Google Doc, and I could, you know, it had spacing in it. I would rather have indents, so I would have to like redo some of this spacing and formatting, but that's very doable and not bad at all. So I'm going to put what I'm seeing as all the pluses and minuses of all 5 of these tools into a blog post to make it easier to look in like a graph kind of format in one glance, the cost and the pros and the cons, so that I will post that in a link below. Treasure Island is my favorite book of all time, and it is in public domain, so I said I am going to do one of those things where you upload your own version of a public domain book. So I'm doing it as like a beautiful hardcover print book. I'm going to test out what the print on demand at KDP is like for hardcover, which I've never done before. I'm doing the page edges and color illustrations and footnotes, lots of annotations with my kind of thoughts. And so I found that Canva would be the best option for that. So I'm doing it as the 6x9 for this. You know, I wanted it to be a little bit bigger than the 5x8, a little bit easier to see everything. So I looked up what the margins for that would be, and I put in the guidelines on it, and then so I'm doing like left page, right page, and just copying that over and over again. And I put these to be the full bleed, so hopefully this will look cool and have a beautiful like blue gradient edge around it. This will all be, we'll have to test it out by ordering an author copy and see what happens, but I think that that should work. You know, I had full customization over the fonts to make, like, Canva has limitless fonts pretty much. And So like I said, I put the little margin line here so I know not to put anything over the top of that. And I could, you know, put an image behind and color images and just make whatever I want. But I had to carefully look at where am I putting the header, because this is not like automatically done. But you can add rulers and guides to it that you then take off. So yeah, so I've got all kinds of stuff and little tiny icon there for the things, and here's the map that was in the original book, and the header for the, I'm going to take these off because they, and this is just, I manually did the bigger thing, and then I put a line in here for each footnote, so it's very, very manually done. And so far, this is what I have. So I still have a ways to go, but I think this is going to turn out really beautiful, and I'm very excited to see what it's going to look like. And I really feel like to get all the amount of customization that I want to make it look as beautiful as I want, I really had to use something like Canva. Probably InDesign, again, would do the same thing, but Canva is amazing and I love it. So, okay, well, we made it. Wow, 5 different formatting tools. There's all the ones that I am aware of, and my own kind of extra tip using Canva. So you can look at the pros and cons and see which one you like, and you can go to the timestamps to figure out like, oh wait, how do I do that thing? Because I think I showed all the features, as many of the features as I could for all of them. And like I said, I will put it together into a blog post as well, so the link for that will be in the description. I will see you in the next one, where we'll talk about what you should put in your front matter and back matter, and whether you should apply for a copyright if you're in the US. So not the most exciting, but important stuff. After that, we might get into cover design, and I think then it will be a lot more fun. So the series continues, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, sweetheart. Hello. Oh, hello. Oh, are you the cutest? Are you the cutest? I think you are. I think you are.